Welcome to our recipe training video series. In this video, we'll explore the importance of standardized recipes and how to navigate through them with ease. Think about going to your favorite drive-thru restaurant. You order your usual burger and fries, and when you bite into it, it tastes just like you remember it. Just like it tasted the last time you ate it. That is because they use standardized recipes. So what is a standardized recipe? A standardized recipe is one that has been tried and retried at least 3 times and has been found to produce the same good results and yield every time. These recipes are more than just a list of ingredients and instructions. They're crafted to control portions, reduce costs, and maintain the quality and consistency of the food served. It's a tool that everyone in our organization uses. Using standardized recipes is important because it ensures that all students get the same food at every school. That's why it's essential to use only Klein standardized recipes. Standardized recipes do more than help us make sure that every meal is consistent across all schools. They also make sure that the food has the right amount of calories and nutrition for each student. By following standardized recipes, we guarantee that every student receives the same high-quality meal, meeting the requirements of the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program. Managers print recipes quarterly and as needed. You should always follow the recipe, even for simple things like sandwiches. If you need another copy or you need to adjust the number of servings, just ask your manager. Recipes may seem scary when you first look at them, but there's a lot of very important information which will help make preparing and serving our foods easy. Each part of the recipe has a purpose, and if we break it down and look closely at each one, you will see they are actually easy to understand. First, check the recipe. Before you start cooking, take a good look at the recipe and read it over. Make sure you have everything you need and that you fully understand the instructions. If you're not sure, you can always ask your manager. First, let's learn about the basics. At the top, you'll find the name of the recipe and the recipe code. This is important when you are asking your manager for another copy. You'll want to tell your manager the name and code as it is written on the recipe to ensure that you get the exact recipe you need. Below the name and the code, you'll find the number of servings and serving size. If you need to make a different number of servings than what is written on the recipe, ask your manager to scale the recipe for the number of servings you need. Next, you'll see the allergens and meal components. This helps us serve safe meals to our students by telling us what allergens are in the recipe. The meal component section tells us what one serving of the recipe credits for. Now, let's take a deeper look at the recipe. The first column lists the step numbers. This is the order in which you will complete the steps of the recipe. The second column is called stock item number or recipe code. If you see just a number, you know that it is one ingredient. If you see a recipe code that starts with LR, you know that there is a recipe within the recipe. When you see this, you need to ask your manager to also print the LR coded recipe. You need both papers to properly create the main recipe. The next column is called stock item or recipe name. This is your shopping list. It tells you the name of all of the ingredients that you will need to create the recipe. The next column is called stock quantity. This tells you how much of each ingredient you will need. Finally, the last column is the directions. This section tells you what you need to do with each ingredient. Take your time to read the directions carefully. Follow the steps one by one. If the recipe gives more than one way to cook something, your manager will tell you which to do. Make sure to measure each ingredient and to cook to the right temperature. Remember to keep an eye on the quality of food. If something doesn't look or taste right, don't serve it. If you're missing an ingredient or need help, tell your manager. They are there to help you. By following standardized recipes, you'll be cooking up tasty meals in no time.